Welcome everybody to the South Hockey Network live on YouTube, live from Compton Family Ice Arena, home of the Notre Dame Fightin' Irish, as we get set for our final game here of our 5-game marathon. And we're back to where we started. The St. Andrews College Prep Saints are taking on the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Saints from Canada, Toronto area, St. Ignatius from Ohio. Good to have you with us here live from South Bend, Indiana. We're starting a little bit late. If you're wondering, we had an injury in the game earlier that delayed us by about 20 minutes. But we're ready to go here on NCAA Division I ice. The Saints in red. They'll go from left to right on your screen. And St. Ignatius Wildcats in white, they'll go from right to left. This game critical for St. Andrews. They're looking for a win to secure their spot in the semifinals tomorrow morning. If they lose, it will all depend on the points per period. If you know about the tiebreakers here at this Hoosier Cup, St. Andrews comes into this one with 8.5 points per period, as this shot is held onto by the starting netminder, Michael Marsh, the junior, for St. Andrews College Prep. On the other side of things for St. Ignatius, your starting goaltender is Blake Benedicts. But anyhow, Saints with 8.5 points per period. And again, if they lose, they're going to need to surpass either 10 or 11 based on what happens in the later games. Here's a shot, that one stopped. You get 1 point if you win the period. You get half a point if you tie the period, and you get no points if you lose the period. Then you also get 2 points if you win the game on top of that in the points per period column. Marzanati gets it up ice. Skating ahead with it is Galucci. He takes a shot. That's stopped by Michael Marsh, and he hangs on. St. Andrews, a 5-0 victory yesterday over University School. And earlier today, if you were watching, a 2-1 victory over St. Mary's. As for St. Ignatius, they began the tournament losing 5-1 to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Followed it up with an overtime win 3-2 over Providence Catholic earlier today. But unfortunately for the St. Ignatius Wildcats, no matter what they do here in this game, they have found themselves mathematically eliminated from semifinal contention. So they're looking to close this one out, playing spoiler against St. Andrews. Bradley look for Rose, but that's intercepted. Now Shioka, now a backhand shot from in close by Ethan Charter, goes high of the net. No save necessary there for Benedicts. Bradley goes across. Looking for Roksinski. Now Bradley gets it back below the goal line. He's centered it, nobody home, and it's regained by St. Andrews. Owen Fleming now to neutral ice and beyond, all the way down, and it becomes an icing. Feel free to use the chat feature here on our broadcast. I know some of the Saints fans from earlier were chiming in. We love to read your messages and interact with all the fine people watching at home. And we'll even throw your chat up on the big screen. St. Andrews defensive zone faceoff won by the Wildcats. Here's a shot, save, and another save made by Marsh. Puck comes to the near side corner, sent back up high. Banaszek takes a shot. That one hit the side of the cage. Penalty coming up as the ref blows the whistle. High sticking is the call. And it's going to send St. Andrews to the penalty box. The guilty party, number 2, Zachary Minode. You can see him below the goal line, has his stick tied up. And he gets him up high there. Sort of a cross check, could have been called either way, but nonetheless a 2-minute minor. And that'll send the Wolfpack to the power play. Not the Wolfpack, but the Wildcats. I broadcast for a team back home called St. Ignatius. They are the Wolfpack. Excuse my confusion. Up to Bradley, left point. Goes across, up high, Rose with a shot. That one blocked by Welsh. Now Gallucci across for Rose. Couldn't settle that one down, otherwise he'd have a one-timer. Rose, his pass intercepted, and St. Andrews will fire at the length. Again, St. Andrews 2-0. A win gets them in to the semifinals, regardless of how it happens. And then the points per period tiebreaker would break down the seeding. The 1 versus 4 game will be played here on this rink and will be live on the South Hockey Network. But here's a shot by White, and he scores. What a shot. Aiden White delivers the first goal of the game for St. Ignatius, and they take a 1-0 lead. Let's run that one back from our goal cam. Found a hole, top right corner. Man, we have seen a number of snipes go top shelf at the Hoosier Cup today. You can hear the ting off the post as that one crossed the goal line and touched twine. 1-0 here early in the first 4 minutes of play. St. Ignatius eliminated, but looking to play spoiler against St. Andrews. They'll have another look offensive zone face-off, left circle. Malovic wins it. Here's a shot by Bobsey. That one stopped by Marsh. Now back up high, it goes to McLaughlin. Here's a shot, that one deflected off the near side of glass. Now McLaughlin goes across again. Here's a shot, that one couldn't find its way through a maze of bodies. I believe it might have been blocked by their own man. Now punching it outside the zone. Racing up ice is St. Andrews, but they can't get past Louis. This one backhanded down below the goal line for Michael Murphy. Backhand centering pass wouldn't go, but Murphy gets it back. Goes upstairs to Chan. Down to Murphy again. Backhands it down below the goal line for Minode. Puck taken back by St. Ignatius. The Wildcats bring it out. So pivotal power play goal there from the Saints' perspective. Again, remember, if they don't win this game, they still have a chance, but it's going to come down to that points per period. You could see below each team's name and score on your screen. You've got the goals each period, so obviously that'll align with the scoreboard for the first period. That'll reset each period to give you an idea of who's ahead in the frame. This one sent down by the Wildcats. Far side, it's brought back up high. This is outside the zone. And Miller will tip it in. Down below the line, it's picked up by Charter, given up. Gallucci takes a shot. That hits the crossbar. It almost looked like the ref was getting ready to call a goal, but then changed his mind. No complaint from St. Ignatius' side, so that clearly hit iron. We'll take a look at the replay when we get a chance next whistle. Gallucci now sent back up to the right point. Here's a shot from up high. That one stopped by Marsh. Rebound back up to Marzani. Fired wide of the net. Our side, Miyoshi. And sent all the way down. Let's have another look, shall we? Wow, what a move that was between the defender's leg. And then waved off by the official. Good call as that hit basically the intersection of the right post and the crossbar. It stays 1-0 Wildcats. 9 to go here in the first period. St. Andrews looking to respond. It's brought back and sent into the defensive zone. Phoenix Alfredson. Flex this one down. Goes below the goal line. Far side corner. Welsh. He's hitting to the corner boards. St. Ignatius can't clear it. Here's a shot. That one deflected wide off the stick of Ty Puri. Now a centering pass goes up high. Left circle. Here's a shot fired by Alfredson. And that's high of the net. No save necessary for Benedict. Now St. Mary's has to be careful on that change. Close to too many men. It won't be called. Matthew DiCapo tries a short side shot. Top right corner. Couldn't find the cage. Compton Family Ice Arena, home of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Beautiful facility here in South Bend, Indiana, on the campus of Notre Dame. And great hosts here for this tournament. Delayed offside is finally whistled dead. 7:45 to go first period. Still nothing in the chat room. Come on, folks, don't be shy. We love to interact with you watching at home, especially without my partner here, Jeff Morrow. Tournament director has been doing color with me here and there when he's available too. Right now he's very occupied working out all the different clinching scenarios as we're getting to the tail end of the preliminary round. Far side, Hayden Stroud looking to get that one out to neutral ice. He did, but then sent right back in by White. Aiden White, your lone goal scorer so far in this one. Plenty of game left as it's sent all the way down for another icing, and another O-zone faceoff coming for the Wildcats. Okay, we have a chat. Megan Patterson, I know that name. Let's go Saints. All right, so she has picked a side. That is one of our fans here on the South Hockey Network. Tunes into a lot of our Glenbrook South broadcasts. Big shout out to the Glenbrook South Titans. While we were here doing this game, the dads were filling in, broadcasting the Titans game against Loyola Gold back in Illinois. The Titans 3-0 winners in that one. Here's a shot, that one stopped. Rebound, they score, it's Hill. Following up the rebound off the pad. And it is 2-0 to the Wildcats. And St. Ignatius has a student section to go celebrate with. You've got members of one of the teams down there. I would have to imagine it's one of the teams that's battling against St. Andrews for that final playoff spot. And St. Ignatius playing spoiler and playing their role well so far. Saints looking to respond. Here's a wraparound try. That one stopped on the follow-up. Owen Fleming couldn't put that one past a block. Now it comes the other way. Roche looked to center that one. Instead, it goes right on net. That's stopped by the goaltender. Net comes off its moorings. But the referees do not notice. So we'll play on here. We'll see if Michael Marsh gets a chance to fix it, the junior netminder for the Saints. This one lifted out to neutral ice, glove down, Ty Puri. Taken right back by McLaughlin. Out to neutral ice and sent in down the right wing side. Under 6 to go here in the first period. Here's a short side shot. That one hit the side of the net. Not a bad idea by Ajax Chan. Now thrown far side. That one's blocked and brought the other way by the Wildcats. The net's still off its moorings. That one settled down. Not a high stick. Tried to go to his backhand and it wouldn't go. And finally the referee has noticed the net off of its pegs. I'd love to know who that team down there is, watching on and cheering for St. Ignatius so that they can clinch the semifinals. They're banging on the glass here at Compton Ice Arena, and more students go down there to join them. That appears to be University School, who's got a 2-1 record and the tiebreaker over St. Joseph's. Now this one centered right down low, played down to the far or near side corner. Each period that goes along will continue to update you on the points per period situation. Meanwhile, here's Gallucci with a shot, trying to make it 3-0, but the save was made by Marsh. Now onside, it's taken away by the Wildcats. Babinski comes down the left wing side. He's being held up from behind by Murphy. Taken down, no penalty called. SAC comes the other way. DeCapo centers it. Minode. Can't figure out this St. Ignatius defense right now. They're just completely shutting them down. Now Babinski comes across the line. He's at the end of a long shift. Centered it. Here's another shot by Hulick. The save is made by Marsh. Loose puck just sitting there and finally recovered by Fleming. He gets it out to neutral ice for Yashioka. Here's a shot turned away by Benedicts. Now battle for the puck far side corner. Another short side chance, and they couldn't stuff it home. Now Alfredson. Right in front, backhand rebound wouldn't go. Trying to cover it up was Benedicts. He could not. Back up to the right point now. Sent down to the left circle. Charter. Back up higher is a shot from long range. That one was stopped by the goaltender. And finally cleared out by St. Ignatius, who will get to change. Intercepted by Hill in neutral ice. They'll come over the line cleanly. Couldn't get a shot away. Dumped back deep by Jelix. And grabbed below the line by Alfredson. Unable to clear the zone. Nice move around one by Cabins. Now Hill has some space. He shoots, looking for a second goal, but could not beat Marsh that time. .250 to go here in the first period. Big hit there in open ice. And that's going to cost St. Ignatius a penalty, or excuse me. Yes, that's going to cost St. Ignatius a penalty for elbowing. Let's see what we caught on camera. Here's your main cam look. It's number 6 in White Hill. Right there. So the officials deem that elbowing contact to the face. And a much needed power play for St. Andrews. Time running out here in this first period to get at least a tie. They're down 2-0 in the frame. Every point per period counts. It's the number one tiebreaker here at this tournament after head-to-head is how many periods you win. Left circle, this one sent across, but Robinson gets his stick in the way and fires it down. Below the goal line, it's settled down by Marsh. And the Saints will bring it back up ice. Burt Wen, now chased after by Alfredson. Far side corner, he knocks a man off. And they regain possession. Here's a shot. That one stopped by the goaltender, and it comes all the way back out. That team all along the glass near side going crazy right now for this 2-0 lead by the St. Ignatius Wildcats. An unexpected turn of events here to the first period as this is cleared down once again. 90 seconds to go. Passed out to the neutral zone, now across. And into the Wildcat bench it goes for a stoppage with 1:22 to go here in the first period. 38 seconds to go in the penalty. And they'll drop the puck in neutral ice right in front of the Wildcat bench. There to take it Minode, but he loses it to Rasinski. Now Lou will send this one the length. No icing as they're still shorthanded. 25 to go in the power play. Alfredson. Now brought along by DeCapo. Down the left wing side, has some space, takes a shot. That deflects right on net, and forced to make a good save was Benedict. They still play keep away here with the time winding down on their power play. A shot from long range wouldn't find the 5-hole. And it's cleared out to the neutral zone. Power play over. St. Ignatius has killed it. Down to 37 seconds remaining in the first period. Far side half wall. A hit into the boards. And Bradley gets his pocket picked. It's sent all the way back down into the Saints' end. Megan Patterson, isn't Saints from Canada? Yes, they are. Toronto area, playing against St. Ignatius out of Ohio. As the horn sounds on period number 1. So St. Andrews fails to pick up the period 1 win, and they will not collect any points. The maximum points they can now get is 12.5 instead of 13.5. We'll continue to track that as we go along. We'll take a quick timeout here on the South Hockey Network. Don't go anywhere. Second period coming right up. Welcome back to the South Hockey Network. The quote-unquote student section has shifted over to our right as St. Ignatius switches to shooting from left to right wearing the white sweaters, and the Saints of St. Andrews in red going from right to left. Dylan Ward here on the call with you. Happy to have you with us for the 5th and final game of our marathon here on this Sunday in South Bend, Indiana at Compton Family Ice Arena. This one's held on to by Michael Marsh in net for the Saints. St. Andrews needs a victory. If they fail to win this one, based on the points per period, it would in all likelihood mean that they are out of the tournament. We'll continue tracking that as it goes along. This one out to neutral ice, it might be a 2-on-1. This one slid over to the right side, but unable to settle it down is Matthew DeCapo. Now fired in. From inside his own territory, St. Ignatius gets it out. Miller will backhand it in, then go off for a change. Behind the net, Gallucci. Megan Patterson adds, I think Saints are from where I am or close to me. And a big save there by Michael Marsh. Please excuse any voice cracks I may have. I have been talking into this microphone for the last 7 hours and 46 minutes. But I've been having lots of fun, and I hope you are too, watching from home. Gerard Boris and I will get back to the hotel and rest up, as we'll be bringing you semifinal action tomorrow morning at 8:30 local time here on the East Coast, between the #1 seed and the #4 seed. As that one hits the helmet of one of the Saints and goes right into the bench. We'll also have the championship for you right here on the South Hockey Network. That one will be underway at 1:15 p.m. local here in Eastern. Second period just getting started here. 2-0 the lead for St. Ignatius. They've gotten goals from Aiden White and Liam Hill. St. Andrews desperate for something here. Here's a shot from the left side that's turned away by Benedicts. Now up high, here's a big slap shot from the left side, but that misses the net wide. Near side, backhanded out. Glove down and settle down in neutral ice. As Mahovic gets tripped up, and somehow that's not called a penalty. The ref was staring right at it, and the fans in the building do not agree with the call. Regained here by Alfredson. Pass out to the neutral zone and dump right back in. Alfredson gets it back. Backhands it over to the far side, but intercepted. Bradley nearly had a break, but couldn't get around one defender. So now it's brought back in. Taken away once again by St. Ignatius. They'll come out through neutral ice, just onside, but taken away by the Saints. Now Ethan Charter comes across, takes a shot. That one sails past the net. Rebound picked up left circle. Here's another shot by Stroud, but that gets blocked, and it's not quite out of the zone. Now it is. Rose, but offside there, and that'll stop play. Well, the Saints get a break here. This was not called a penalty. Looks like we just missed it on camera. There was a trip near the blue line. We'll see if we can show you the goal camera, the goal cam angle at our next whistle. Lou takes a shot, kicked away by Marsh. Now brought back up ice. Here's Zachary Minode. He's over the line cleanly. Minode all the way down below the goal line. Swoops up to the left point. Sent down deep once again. Below the line. Being fought for and coming away is Michael Murphy. Murphy centered it in the slot. Here's a shot by Minode, and it gets deflected off a St. Ignatius stick and wide of the net. Now back up high. They just can't keep it in the zone. And they'll retreat. St. Ignatius changes, and this loose puck is chased ahead by Bradley. He's got a breakaway, and he scores! Cade Bradley continues the onslaught here for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. They lead 3-0, and they lead 1-0 here in the second period. And the Saints in a tough spot now. As the student section, which is another team preying on the downfall of the Saints, yelling, "It's all your fault," to Michael Marsh. Harsh. Saints look to respond here. From up high, this shot sizzles wide, looking for a rebound. Here's a turnaround shot and a big save made by Benedicts. Kicked out of the zone, chasing after it is Matthew Cabanis, but grabbed back by the Saints out to neutral ice. This is brought over the line by Wen. Here's a centering pass, wouldn't go. Below the line, they look to center it once again, but it's taken back by the Wildcats. In the event that St. Andrews loses this period, the maximum points per period they could get if they come back would be 11.5. As here's a stretch pass in on a breakaway, looking for their first goal of the game, and a big glove save made by Benedicts on Taki Yoshioka. Wow. I think the general consensus was that St. Andrews was the favorite in this one to make it a perfect 3-0 record. And if this result holds, it's going to really open the door for some other teams that have been patiently waiting idle after doing all they could to keep themselves alive. Right now, Providence Catholic out of Illinois is the only team to have clinched. They've got 5 points, a 2-0-1 record, so no regulation losses. There's going to be a 3-0 team, as just underway on rink 2, St. Edward's and DeMantha are facing off. Both those teams 2-0, so no matter what happens, one of them will be 3-0. And then after that, it's all going to come down to these tiebreakers. Jesuit Dallas is sitting pretty with 11 points per period and a 2-1 record. University School and St. Joseph's both also have a 2-1 record. Both have 10.0 points per period. However, the tiebreaker after that is goals against, and University School has the edge in that category. So if you're Jesuit Dallas or University School, right now you are really hoping that St. Ignatius sees this one through. And then you're hoping that whoever wins the game on rink 2, just that it doesn't go to OT and they fail to surpass the points per period. Man, we've got a lot of drama here at the Hoosier Cup late in deciding who makes the semifinals. 8:30 to go here in the second period of this one. St. Ignatius up 3-0, playing spoiler right now. Here's Roche over the line. He fires away. Just getting enough of the glove on that one was Michael Marsh. Now hacked out of the zone off the far boards. Picked right back up by the Wildcats. Robinson will send it in. And they're just offside after that. 3-0 the score, 1-0 the score here in this period with 8:05 to go. Dylan Ward alongside Gerard Boris. We expect Jeff Morrow to be joining us during the third period of this one. Face-off in neutral ice won by the Wildcats. Rose will backhand this one in. Now Bradley, who's one of their 3 goal scorers, centers it off a skate in the blue paint and goes right back to the Saints, who send it out to neutral ice. Number 3 is not on our roster, but he is wearing a Captain C. Excuse me, that's just the C on his SAC jersey. So we've still yet to identify him all this time later. We do apologize for that. He's got a lot of ice time, so clearly an impactful player for the Saints. He's taken down. And now a cross check there below the goal line. Ref does not call it. And SAC comes back the other way. Sent back out to the neutral zone, and they'll regroup. We want to know, are there any Jesuit Dallas fans watching? Are there any University School fans watching? To see what happens in this one. I believe University School is the team down there to our right. And that's one of the fun parts of this tournament, is that you, without the group format, just one big league standings, and the top 4 make it. It creates all this chaos where all the other results of the tournament make a difference and adds a Good layer of fun to the action here in South Bend. Up high, left point, big one-timer off the stick of Hayden Stroud. Velocity was there, accuracy was not. Kept alive, right point. Now here's a turnaround shot. That one hit the outside of the post off the stick of Ethan Charter. Right circle. Deflected and sent below the goal line. Now St. Ignatius will rush the other way. Here they come over the line, left wing side. It's dumped in. Man taken down up on the boards. You could see the ref think about blowing the whistle there, but he opted not to. McLaughlin. Stretch ice pass, trying to catch the Saints in a change. Miller. Taken right back by Hayden Stroud. Off the far boards and down. What a centering pass, and it's a 2-on-0. Here's a shot, and they score! A massive goal for the Saints. Puts them on the board, gets them within 2, and ties up the period. It's 3-1. Zachary Minode will get the goal there. And what an interesting play. Innocent play, and just suddenly, off that great centering feed, became a 2-on-0. Minode took the shot. It was the right decision as it beat Benedict's. Don't go anywhere, folks. Again, a win in any fashion would secure the semifinals for St. Andrews. We'll see if they can make it happen. We'll see if they can build some momentum after scoring that goal too. Fleming working with the puck far side. Now it's Zach Minode. Now all of a sudden it feels like St. Andrews looking to play spoiler on the spoiling that St. Ignatius is doing. A man's taken down. That's going to be a penalty. And that's going to send the Saints to the power play. Cross-checking should be the call here. Roughing instead. Oh, it was that near side one. And going to the box will be Levi Gallucci. What a moment we have upon us here. With 4:41 to go in the second period, St. Andrews trying to claw their way back and erase a 3-0 deficit to keep themselves alive here in the Hoosier Cup. Here's a shot from up high. I believe that was blocked by his own man, Ty Puri. Now below the line. Taken back by the Wildcats, and they'll send it all the way down. Counted as a shot on goal. Although they're not counting shots on goal here at this tournament, unfortunately. We're going to try and make that happen for you in the semifinals tomorrow morning. That's always a fun thing to track in hockey. And pretty easy, too. White there to try and clear. It's kept alive by Stroud. He goes across. Here's a shot and a glove save made by Benedict's. He hangs on, drawing applause from the fans. 4 minutes flat here in the second period. 1:19 to go on the power play for the Saints. You're watching the Hoosier Cup on the South Hockey Network. Glad to have you with us. Fawn says, let's go Saints. Keep the pressure on, boys. Time to capitalize and take control. I'm sure they would agree with you. Here's a shot by Ajix Chan. That one stopped. And the rebound is cleared by the Wildcats. Still plenty of hockey left to be played in this one. 3:40 to go in the second. And only a 2-goal lead now for the Wildcats, which looked much more dominant at 3-0. Now all of a sudden you think St. Andrews has a chance. It's a funny psychological thing about hockey is a 2-goal lead in terms of coming back and a 3-goal lead feel like a much bigger difference than just 1 goal. And sometimes just getting that 1 goal can give you the confidence to build some momentum off of it and make something happen. Michael Murphy got his pocket picked, and the other way comes Nate Robinson. Roche will fire it in. Off the corner boards and picked up by Stroud. Penalty time winding down, just 10 seconds to go on it. Goes to the far side and brought over the line by Michael Murphy. Down the right wing side. Murphy below the goal line, looking for a centering pass. He found one, right circle. Here's a shot. That one stopped and cleared. Penalty is over, so that would have been an icing. But how about that? It goes right on net to keep play moving. A goal here would go a long way for the Saints. Not only would it get them one goal closer to coming back, but it would also take the lead here in the second period for the tiebreakers. Battle for the puck, far side half boards. We'll also go over down to rink 2 in between periods and get a score update between St. Edwards and DeMatha. Here's a shot. That one stopped. A nice glove save is made by Michael Marsh. Nicole LeBlanc watching from Dieppe, New Brunswick, Canada. Go Saints go. My apologies if I mispronounced that town name. Glad to have some international viewers, of course, following their Canadian side here in the St. Andrews Saints. Here's another save made by Michael Marsh. 1:51 to go here in the second period. We'll see if this period ends up being tied or if either team can pick up the full point in the tiebreaker. You see below the score on your screen, the goals this period 1-1 between these two sides. Saints will make a change before the puck falls here at the circle to the goaltender's right. Face-off taken by the Saints. Bring it out through neutral ice. And now this is Connor Welsh. Welsh below the goal line. Now back up high, touch to the near side. Down to the left circle. Up to the left point. Now out to neutral ice. Jalix is following along. And now it's sent the other way. Now, Nicole LeBlanc watching from New Brunswick, Canada. I would love to know if you have my answer here. Who is number 3 on the Saints? Seems to get a lot of ice time, but I do not have him on my roster. He's out there right now. Here's a shot, that one wide. If you happen to know, let us know in the chat, because we'd love to give him credit. Here he is, number 3, with a shot from way up high. That one stopped by Benedict. 40 seconds to go. Puck cleared out to the neutral zone, and a giveaway. Hulick goes across for Galucci. Galucci below the goal line, centers it. Here's a turnaround shot that just missed the left post. Huge moments here in the final seconds of the second period. The period score tied 1-1 as you see on your screen. A win for the Saints in any fashion would clinch the semifinals. As a matter of fact, if they can just get a point here in terms of an actual standings point, as in sending this game to OT, that'll do the trick too. If they lose in regulation, it comes down to the tiebreakers. Here's White with a shot. That one's turned away. Rebound grab below the goal line. Played to the near side for Michael Murphy. Now out through neutral ice, skating up with it, Matthew DiCapo. He's over the blue line, right wing side, fires a shot. Turned aside. Now again, here's another look. That wouldn't go either. As time winds down on period number 2. So it's 3-1 St. Ignatius. They had a 3-0 lead before the Saints struck to make it 3-1. Each team gets half a point per period, so that brings St. Andrews' total up to 9 and putting them ahead of DeMatha, at least coming into DeMatha's game. Again, St. Andrews clinches the semifinals with a win or an overtime loss. As long as they don't lose in regulation. If they do, it'll come down to the tiebreakers. Zamboni will take care of business. We'll take a break. We'll also go check on the other game on Rink 2 between St. Edwards and DeMantha and come back with a score update on that one. But till then, give us about 12 minutes while the Zamboni scrapes the ice, and we'll be right back on the South Hockey Network for period number 3. Welcome back to the South Hockey Network, everybody. It is time for the final regulation period of our 5-game marathon here from South Bend, Indiana at Compton Family Ice Arena on the campus of University of Notre Dame. It is the St. Andrews Saints against the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Big game here. St. Ignatius looking to play spoiler. They've got a 3-1 lead over St. Andrews, who need a point to clinch their spot in the semifinals tomorrow morning. We'll see if they can come back and at the very least force OT. Saints in red, going from left to right on your screen. And the Wildcats in white, going from right to left. DeMatha and St. Edwards over there on rink 2, currently tied 0-0 at the last time we checked, which was a few minutes ago. And the standings, I would go over all the different possible scenarios, but it's going to be too much for you to wrap your head around, and I know that because it's too much for me to wrap my head around. But all you need to know is this. If you're a St. Andrews fan, a win or an overtime loss guarantees your spot in the semifinals. Whereas a regulation loss, it would come down to the tiebreakers. And in the event of a regulation loss, I will break down the tiebreakers. A cross-check there by Hill. He's going to get called for that. And that's going to send the Saints to a big-time power play here just less than a minute into the third period. Hill will go to the box. We've got a new chat. Jeff Minode, let's go Saints, watching from Quebec City, Canada. I would have to assume you are the father or other relative of Zachary Minode, the senior forward, number 2 out there. Listen, Jeff, I've got a question. Do you know who number 3 is on the Saints? Because he's not on our roster. Seems to get a lot of ice time. We don't want to not mention his name on the broadcast because he's played a couple great games. Here's a centering pass, that one tipped high. We're trying to figure out who number 3 is. Wildcats try and bring it out, kept alive. Here's a centering pass and a shot fanned on. Getting a stick in the way was Quinn McLaughlin. Now they rush up by shorthanded 3-on-2, but they couldn't connect on that pass. McLaughlin chasing it back. By the way, there is not a power play. Excuse me. It looked like both players went to the penalty box. And I apologize to my video producer, Gerard Boris, because I was the one who narrated that as a power play, but it just stays 5-on-5 with the coincidental minors. Dylan Ward here on the call alongside Gerard Boris, our video producer. This is picked up near side by Welsh. Goes across off the board, picked up by Alfredson. Big hit there in open ice as Robinson ran into Alfredson. Meanwhile, the other way, trying to get back on top, at least by 3 goals, was St. Ignatius, but it wouldn't go. You can see the University School preppers down there rooting hard for a Saints regulation loss to give themselves a chance to advance. All they would need is, in the event of that, is the DeMatha and St. Edwards game to not go to overtime. Doesn't matter who wins, just as long as it does not go to overtime, they would be in good shape. Currently at 9 points per period are the Saints. This period tied 0-0, just underway. Here's Hayden Stroud. Hit into the boards and sent down below the goal line once again. Picked back up. And sent down out of his net to play it as Benedicts. Goes to the far side. They'll try and look to play it out. Does get beyond the blue line as they try and poke it ahead. Hulick couldn't get around one defender. That was Ajax Chan. Now a 2-on-1 developing. Down the right wing side, this one passed across, but a penalty coming up as well. And St. Ignatius has a power play incoming as it's finally possessed enough for the whistle to go. And an interference call has been signaled by the official, as the University School Preppers let him know you can't do that. And there it is right there, late. So a power play for the Wildcats as Hayden Stroud takes the seat. By the way, Reese Kapralik comes in clutch. Travis Naylor is number 3. Okay, we really appreciate that. Travis Naylor listed as number 5 on our roster. So there is the answer to our question. Bradley, left circle. Down to the corner, now Bradley gets it back. Plays it across ice. Here's Rose with a shot. Looking for a deflection, didn't get it. Now Bradley. Up to Gallucci, he fires. Blocker save made by Marsh. He's back up to Gallucci, who sends it down to the corner. And it bops outside the zone. White couldn't keep it alive. Now turning on the Jets, racing after the puck is Murphy. He couldn't get there first. Now Gallucci, White enters the zone, has some space down the left wing side. White plays it back up to the point for Rose. Tap to the near side for Bradley. Now in the slot, one-timer try by White, but he fanned on it. Now Gallucci keeps it, goes over to Bradley. One hand on his stick to collect the pass. Gallucci back up to Bradley, left circle. Centered at blue paint, nobody there to tap it home. It goes across for Rose as they maintain possession. Here's a shot that goes wide. And the rebound bounces all the way outside the zone. 30 seconds to go on the power play. 3-1 the score, St. Ignatius. Looking to spoil the party for the Saints. St. Ignatius already eliminated from this tournament mathematically after a 1-1 record, but a poor points per period mark. So they know this will be their last game. So they're going to give it everything they've got. We've got the 1 seed versus the 4 seed matchup tomorrow morning, 8:30 Eastern time, right here on the South Hockey Network. Then the championship, 1:15 Eastern time for that one. Looking forward to having a long break in between the two games, something we didn't have the luxury of today. 5 straight broadcasts here on the South Hockey Network. Here's a shot off a centering pass that goes wide. I've been talking into this headset mic for the better part of 9.5 hours now. Penalty called during that scrum down below the goal line. And it looks like Robinson is being showed his way to the penalty box, number 4 in white. I didn't see the penalty there. As a matter of fact, it will be no penalty. Looked like the ref called one. They've got a 5-on-4 lineup, but there's no Wildcat sitting in the penalty box. And now the officials discuss. Let's watch it one more time, see if we could spot this thing. They'll send number 24 to the box, Roach. So it's a power play for the Saints and a major opportunity. They need to send this thing to OT at the very least. They win the faceoff to begin the power play. Travis Naylor goes over to Alfredson. Down to the corner, they try and clear it out. Alfredson keeps it alive. Down to the circle for Murphy. Back up to Naylor, he couldn't hang on to it, and he'll chase it all the way back down. Naylor goes over to Alfredson. The big gun's out there for Norm McCauley, the head coach of the Saints. They dump it into the zone. St. Ignatius grabs it, and they'll fire at the length, a big kill, or a big clear. Picked up by Naylor. Alfredson to the near side, touched along for Murphy, who brings it across the line. Michael Murphy back up to the point for Alfredson. Down around the boards below the goal line. Comes to the near side and touched back up high once again. Alfredson, nice move, finds some space, he shoots, going blocker side, or glove side I should say. Now on the rebound they score, it's centered in front and tapped home by Matthew DiCapo. Big power play goal for the Saints, and they are within one. The Saints fighting for that point. And the first shot goes in and out of the glove, but how about the awareness to grab his own rebound? Great assist by Phoenix Alfredson to center it, and it's a tap in for DiCapo. We've got ourselves a game, folks. As the Saints look to keep their Hoosier Cup run alive. Hill back in his own zone, plays it out to the neutral zone. Now Jalix grabs it far side half board, centers it. Babinski couldn't get a backhander on net. Now below the goal line, Ajax Chan out to neutral ice, tapped along, but right to a St. Ignatius skater. Big hit there, far side boards, and that's going to be a penalty against the Wildcats, or no, excuse me, against the Saints. There was a delayed whistle, but it's going to send the Wildcats back to the power play. Tough break for the Saints here. Just a little unnecessary roughness there. And having a seat is Connor Welsh. So back to the penalty kill go the Saints. Back to the power play goes St. Ignatius. We've got a 3-2 game, a nail-biter here with playoff implications. Face-off win for the Wildcats. White from up high shoots, and a save made by Marsh. He hangs on. We're about halfway through period number 3. Saints leading the period 1-0. So in the event that they do lose by 1 goal, they'll have that extra point per period, be up to 10, and then it would come down to the tiebreakers of goals allowed, which we'll look into in just a few moments. This one's centered and brought over the line while they're short-handed. Now back across, down below the goal line. This one bounces in the blue paint, nearly a problem for the Saints, but it's swiped out of harm's way. .127 to go on the St. Ignatius power play. Here's Bradley coming up ice. Swings it across to the right wing side, brought in by Rose. He'll dump it down the right boards and comes up to the left point for Bradley. Goes back across for Rose. He tried to get that one back up to the point, but it's intercepted by Murphy. Michael Murphy is taken down, and a penalty is called on that play, and St. Ignatius throws it out of the zone in frustration, and that will put a screeching halt to their power play. We'll play 4-on-4 for a minute before it will be a Saints power play. To all 41 of you watching live, we appreciate your support from home. And we wish you could be here to witness this exciting finish in person. But we're glad you found your way to the South Hockey Network for this one. Hill grabs the puck. He'll skate up ice off the near boards for Hulick. Now grab back by St. Andrews. In case you're wondering, the tiebreaker after points per period is goals against, in terms of fewest, of course, which we'll break that down next time we can. Because if the score holds, the Saints would be in a 3-way tie in points per period at 10 apiece. Here's a great move by Gallucci, and he gets a shot off. Big save made by the goaltender Marsh. I'll do some counting now. I've got a picture of the scoreboard based on earlier results. University School allowed 5 goals so far in this tournament. We'll get more information on that. Here's a shot. That one gobbled up by Benedict's. As for St. Joseph's, and back to that in a moment as we're back underway. Puck being fought for. Now it's a Saints power play. Back up to the point. It's played to the high slot. Now Robinson chases after the puck after making a block. He's got a partial break, gets a shot away. Not a lot of power on that, as guarding him closely was Phoenix Alfredson. 5:20 to go here in the third. Here comes Murphy across the line. Leaves it for DeCapo, who scored the goal to get the Saints within 1. Back up to the point for Chan. Chan tried to leave it for DeCapo, has to get it back. Ajax Chan shoots from a tough angle, looking for that top right corner, couldn't get it. Now below the line, they can't clear it out. Great stick and a centering pass, unable to get a shot off was DeCapo. But the Saints maintain possession. Here's Chan, right circle. Leaves it for his man DeCapo. Back up to the point for Michael Murphy. Here's a shot deflected, loose in the blue paint, and covered up by Benedict's. So St. Joseph's allowed 9 goals so far in the tournament, as this shot is gobbled up by Benedict's. As for St. Andrews, finally, so far, including the 3 goals allowed tonight, they have allowed 4. So they would have the edge on that tiebreaker, which makes things really interesting if the result holds. Here's a shot. That one stopped by Benedict's, and he hangs on. So let's take a look down the list. If the result holds and the final score is 3-2, then St. Andrews would own the tiebreaker against University School and St. Joseph's, slotting them in 3rd place for the time being. I don't want to get anything wrong here, but that would mean, I believe, that in the event of a regulation game between St. Edward's and DeMantha, it would be a playoff appearance for the Saints. Okay, we'll review that when the game is over. Let's focus on the task at hand, which is the Saints needing to tie this game to absolutely be certain that they will play tomorrow morning. Here's Connor Welsh. Out to Hayden Stroud. Intercepted by Rose. Back for Raczynski. He'll dump it in. Deflected to the near glass. And recollected by Owen Fleming. Goes across for Hayden Stroud. Stroud dumps it in. Near side corner. It's chased after by Charter. Played all the way outside the zone on a missed pass. Now sent in again. We're down to 3:06 to go here in the 3rd period. It will be interesting to see if the coaching staff, Norm McCauley head coach, Greg Reed and Eric McLaughlin will pull their goaltender or not, because again, they do have the point per period as it stands right now. You can see outscoring the Wildcats 1-0 here in this third. And it would put them in pretty good shape, but if you pull the goalie, you risk tying the period and putting yourself below the standings mark. I do apologize if I'm confusing you at home. My brain gears are turning while I'm trying to call a game. Marzarani intercepted, brought in by Minode. Zachary Minode with a shot that didn't miss by much. Rebound far side. And brought back up to the point. Left for Stroud. He takes a shot, save, rebound, puck sitting there loose. Now over to the left side again. Centered once again. This time it's grabbed by DiCapo, but taken away by the Wildcats, and that just misses the net for an icing. Stopping play with 1:48 to go. St. Ignatius 3, St. Andrews 2, with 1:48 to go here in the third. No timeout called, and now it will be called by the Saints. So St. Andrews with an offensive zone faceoff. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they pull their goalie with 1:48 left. As we're coming down to the tail end of our Hoosier Cup coverage on this Saturday, we appreciate you for watching. And if you watched all 5 games today, or at least portions of it, let us know in the chat, and we will give you a major shout out for hanging out with us all day. St. Andrews looking for a game-tying goal. All they need to do is send it to OT to clinch. St. Ignatius already eliminated, trying to play spoiler. What a tournament it's been. And more action tomorrow morning, 8:30 Eastern. We've got the 1 versus 4 semifinal right here on the South Hockey Network, whomever it may be. And the championship at 1:15 Eastern. All right, it's time for the moment of truth. They will keep Michael Marsh on the bench and go with 6 attackers. Empty net to shoot at for the Wildcats. Who can ice it? Drop of the puck at the right circle. Ready for the face-off is Connor Welsh. It falls and it's pulled back by St. Ignatius, but Welsh gets to the puck first. Back up to the right point for Chan. Now Welsh again, being pressured, pinned up against the boards just for a moment. Now down to the circle, here's a shot, big rebound that goes to the far side. Back up to the left point, here's a shot, that one blocked by Miller. Below the goal line now, it's Minode. Back up to the point for Stroud. Near side, here's a shot thrown to the net by Chan, but it missed the cage. Saints maintain possession, here's a shot from the high slot, and what a save off the stick of Welsh made by Benedicts. So a left circle face-off coming up here. Still 6 attackers, of course. Trying to tie this thing up with 1:15. They win the face-off. Try a shot right off the draw. It's cleared immediately by the Wildcats, and it's called an icing. And 5 seconds come off the clock. There is now 1:10 to go here in the third period. Another left circle face-off. Drop of the puck, it's one wide open. Here's a shot, and that one sails way up high off the stick of Ajax Chan. Not going to get very many looks better than that here with the goalie pull. 1:06 to go, third period. Here's a shot right off the draw again, this time off the stick of Minode, but it goes wide. Now with the goal line set in front, comes to the near side. Now right point kept alive. Here's a shot and a glove save made by Benedicts. Down to 52.2. What a game we're witnessing here. Certainly the most exciting game we've had in our 5-game slate. Why not save the best for last? Face-off is won by Welsh. Goes down below the line. DeCapo sends it up high to the left point. Now in the slot, St. Ignatius looking to clear it out of the zone, but Welsh keeps it alive. Off the near boards and mishandled at the blue line by Stroud. He has to chase it all the way back out to the neutral zone. Alfredson now sticked in. Raczynski is taken down. That's going to be a penalty against the Saints. And a huge momentum shifter that will send Michael Marsh back to the goal with an offensive faceoff coming up. For St. Ignatius. Tough penalty to take there for Michael Murphy, the alternate captain. And we'll see if the Saints can make any magic happen or if it will all come down to that final game. Here we go. Drop of the puck won by St. Ignatius. This one cleared all the way down. 15 seconds to go. They leave the goaltender in net for now. And that one sent out of play. We'll see where they drop the puck. It will be in the offensive zone, and there goes Marsh back to the bench. So while shorthanded, it's 5-on-5 with the empty net. 9.8 seconds on the clock. Looking to secure their spot. Connor Welsh ready for the face-off. Puck falls, he wins it. Not cleanly kept in the blue line. Here's a shot towards the net, just missed the cage, 4 seconds left. Thrown to the blue paint and covered up with 1.4. So they're gonna need a big face-off win and an immediate shot here. No timeout left. Right circle draw. Minode might get ready to just take a shot right as soon as the puck falls. He does that. It's blocked, and the buzzer sounds. St. Ignatius wins the game by a final score of 3-2. As they close out their run here at the Hoosier Cup with a 2-1 record in spite of not qualifying for the bracket, they make the Saints' lives a little more dramatic. Although the Saints of St. Andrews do pick up the win in the period. So they advance to 10.0 points per period. So now that the result is set, let's break it down for you. In first place right now, as it stands, is Providence at a 2-0-1 record, so that's 5 points in standings points. Then you've got a bunch of teams that are 2-1. Jesuit Dallas is 2-1 with 11 points per period. Then you've got the three-way tie among 2-1 teams with 10 points per period. That's St. Andrews, University School, and St. Joseph's. Now, the tiebreaker after points per period, as we mentioned, is fewest goals allowed. St. Andrews leads that category. And all the meanwhile, the final game of the preliminary round is going on Rink 2 between St. Edward's and DeMatha. Both those teams 2-0. So, for the St. Andrews Saints, in order to advance to the semifinals, that St. Edward's versus DeMatha game must end in regulation one way or the other. On top of that, you need St. Edward's, who has 9 points per period, and DeMatha, who has 8.5, to not surpass that 10. So, basically, what I would recommend doing for all you Saints fans is just waiting until you hear from your team, whether or not you're going to be playing in the semifinals. It's going to come down to the buzzer. Unfortunately, we're not broadcasting that game between those 2-0 teams, but there is Live Barn available here at Compton Family Ice Arena. That's going to do it for our 5-game marathon here at the University of Notre Dame. We've got 2 games left, but luckily for us, we've got a sleep in between. 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, the 1 versus 4 semifinal, and 1:15 tomorrow, the championship, both times Eastern. Dylan Ward saying, I can't believe my voice survived. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Sunday, and we will see you for the finals of this tournament tomorrow morning. Have a great night, and enjoy your well-earned sleep, hockey fans.